With Brexit, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland left the EU. This basically leads to the fact that the transfer of personal data to the United Kingdom, for example, the transmission of employee data to local group companies, is only permitted under the special requirements of Article 44 of the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR. However, a trade and cooperation agreement between the EU and the UK regulates a transition period. According to the provisions of the GDPR, there are basically no higher data protection requirements for data transfers within the European Union than for data transfers within the Federal Republic of Germany. With Brexit, the United Kingdom left the European Union, and the result is that the United Kingdom is now a third country within the meaning of the DSGVO, that's the German GDPR. And data is only transferred there if the special requirements of Article 44 of GDPR is permitted. The possibilities to legitimize a data transfer from Germany to the United Kingdom include the conclusion of so-called EU standard contracts, which are drafted and currently revised by the European Commission. A data transfer to the United Kingdom can, however, in future also be legitimized by the fact that the European Commission determines an appropriate level of data protection for the United Kingdom in accordance with Article 45 GDPR. And this is currently being checked. The European Commission has signed a trade and cooperation agreement with the United Kingdom. And from the German point of view, this 1,449-page document was published in the official journal of the European Union on December 31st. Ratification by the EU Parliament is still pending, but it is expected that they will ratify it. In the final provisions on page 468 of the German version, there is a regulation according to which the United Kingdom is not a third country within the meaning of the GDPR for the transfer of personal data from the EU to the UK, and it applies if the United Kingdom continues to apply the law existing on December 31st. This means that for the duration of the transition period regarding the transfer of personal data to the UK, everything initially remained as it was. The transition period generally lasts until the point in time at which the Commission establishes an adequate level of data protection for the UK, even after Brexit, but no longer than 4 months. This 4-month period is extended by a further 2 months if neither party to the agreement objects. And this Article FinProv 11 from the deal provides for provisional application regardless of the ratification of the agreement by the EU Parliament. Accordingly, the Conference of the Independent Data Protection Authorities of the federal and state governments announced in a press release on December 28 that there was temporarily preliminary legal certainty for transfers to the United Kingdom. Should the European Union come to an adequacy decision with regard to the level of data protection in the UK after Brexit, which we have now, within the deadlines of the agreement, special data protection measures to legitimize the transfer of data from Germany to the UK would no longer be necessary. However, since this process could end the transitional regulation in the very short term and the GDPR could be unrestrictedly applied with regard to data transfers to the UK, the precautionary conclusion of EU standard contracts or the use of other design options are still necessary to recommend. In this context, it should not be forgotten that in addition to the special requirements in international data transfer, it must always be checked whether the data transfer fulfills the other requirements for lawful data transmission in accordance with the provisions of the GDPR and the Federal Data Protection Act. And many asked, why can't we just give the UK full access, even if they're a third country? It's not that big of a problem. Well, it is. Especially we in Germany here are very, very picky who we allow to use our data without our knowledge. Of course, everyone who's a little bit in the topic knows when I use Facebook, when I use YouTube, when I use Instagram and stuff like that, I pay with my data. But if I use this with that knowledge, I decide what I enter there. I decide which of my data is online at all. And still, I want to know what happens with my other data somewhere else, where I don't have any influence on that one. And that's why we are very strict in Germany with data protection. People get very loud immediately if there are supposed to be changes, and that's why Germany would definitely veto a decision that would just give a third country full access to all data in the EU and could transmit all data wherever. So that won't happen. But we will see how this turns out. We are still once again in a transition period there until the final decisions are made. Until June, like with all the customs regulations, you remember from another video probably. And then the whole fun really begins if there's no, let's say not deal, but if all the requirements are met and the decisions have been made by the Commission. But we will see. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.